Ladies and gentlemen, we are back for another rocking episode of Global Leaders. Today we got with us a really special, a humanitarian, a lady who's making a difference in the community. We have with us the rocking Videshni. Videshni is currently serving her life mission of doing international humanitarian work as the resource acquisition officer of one of the largest based international NGOs called JAM. Joint Aid Management International. Very interesting, despite her 27-year journey in law that even saw her train as an acting magistrate in the children's court, Videshni has stayed true to her heartbeat, that of serving the communities in desperate need. Videshni then founded her NGO 7 years ago called Light Workers. So we're very honored to have with us the rocking Videshni live on the show today, Global Leaders, for all of you lovely people to learn something. So we're going to be kicking off with our first segment right now, getting to know Videshni. So Videshni, I know you're ready for this special Global Leaders interview. There's a lot of people who really love watching the global leaders share their story. So Videshni, I'm going to get you on screen right now. In this segment, it's all about getting to know Videshni. Tell us a little bit more about you.
Thank you, Rajiv. I'm Videshni. I grew up in the Indian township of Chatsworth. Prior to living in Chatsworth, we lived in Merebank. I hail from a family of anti-apartheid activists, and as a result, most of my journey has been around community-minded and socially conscious individuals.
Wow, that's awesome. So I know that, Videshni is a type of a person that does so much and always making a difference out there in the community. How do you manage and find a balance between your law career, JAM, as well as your own NGO, Light Workers?
Thank you, Rajiv. I believe that, at the end of the day, passion actually energizes us. So I served as a lawyer. I served in the community. I served teaching law, and I also worked as an acting magistrate. Over the time, nothing has energized me more than being in the community, working with people, creating programs such that it fulfilled every solution that I was seeking in terms of the breakdowns that I had seen in the delivery of justice, in the delivery of law itself. I believe that it was actually all of these programs that gave me the energy and the full commitment. So in terms of juggling everything, it comes naturally when you're living a life of purpose.
Wow, that's awesome. So tell us more about Light Workers.
So Light Workers actually began in a satsang group.
Oh, wow.
I was teaching in Hindu studies at the time to children from an estate in Waterfall. And during that period, I actually started a satsang group where we had like 100 people attending satsang every Tuesday evening. When I sat among the ladies, realizing prior to that how I had worked in a community and in an Indian community itself in Lenasia, where we used to go out and feed every week, I realized the disparity in terms of those that were in need. And every Tuesday, I was surrounded by women or professional women who actually wanted to do more than just their regular jobs. Having married the two, Light Workers began as a channel of service from those that had to those that did not have.
Wow, I'll be honest, that is incredible because I'm always about Light Workers, and I believe there's so much of power that each one of us possess, and it's so important to bless that forward and help one another grow through the power of positive thinking, personal development, and sharing. So I want to know, setting up an NGO, there's a lot of difficulties and challenges that we face. Can you maybe share some of that with us?
Okay, so I think our greatest challenge was in identifying our mission and purpose in this organization for the last 7 years of its existence. You see, one of the biggest or greatest gems that I learned in terms of service is that when we offer service, there must not be a gap where you are serving from the level of people are beneath you. The greatest transformations happen when you serve selflessly. Coming from a mindset that I grew up in, especially influenced by my spiritual mentor, one of the biggest things I found is that every day in service is a lesson. So if I tell you about the empowered women that I was surrounded by, being professional women who are, directors of law firms, they're CFOs, they are partners in, international institutions and accounting firms. When they stood behind me, we went all out with our professionalism to this community that we wanted to serve in. We realized that we needed to conduct a needs analysis, because that's what professional women do. Put things on spreadsheets and aim to fill the gaps. The first thing that we learned was, in terms of the community that we were serving in, there were much greater events happening behind the scenes that we even knew of. So one of those would have been the causes related to poverty. And for me, one great learning in working in communities is always the fact that in poverty-stricken communities, you will find all the social evils. When we did the needs analysis, when we went out there and surfed, we basically filled every gap of finding beds, food, diapers, clothing for the people in the community. The one thing that we realized was, when I started walking in that community 3 weeks later, everything that we gave was sold. It was at this juncture that we had suffered the biggest test of time. And that was, do we turn around from this community with egg on our faces, or do we actually delve deeper into the social issues that community was facing? And despite our backgrounds, the one thing we decided, and out of humility, was, having accepted to work in this community, we were going to tackle what we believed was the greatest social ill, which was drug addiction.
Wow, I'll be honest, that's absolutely incredible. And you can see you guys have faced so many different struggles, and it's great to see that you guys overcame those struggles and have managed to put together this incredible organization, foundation, Lightworkers. So before we go to our next segment too, Life Secrets, what I want to know from you, and this is a very simple question, but it's obvious that you are a humanitarian and you had that sort of legal backing and that legal foundation. What was the defining moment in your life that made you realize this was your calling?
To be honest with you, Rajiv, I knew in the 3 months of being in the law firm that law was not necessarily my calling, or the side of law that I wished to be on. Every young lawyer, and I've taught children, I've taught lawyers in the making. The first thing that actually, thrills them in a classroom is the fact that, wow, ma'am actually worked at, Norton Rose Attorneys, and she must have everything right, because that's the dream of every young attorney. What I try to tell them is that at the end of the day, it's not just about the money. It's what you can do with your qualifications. In 3 months, 3 weeks into being in that law firm, I was already writing letters to the then president, Thabo Mbeki. He started a legal I-Train, and I felt that I wanted to do more work on the side of the community, because in reality, Rajiv, I was working against the man on the street by working for the large law firms.
Wow, that's really powerful. And I think there's so many youngsters out there who are not sure what their true calling is. And that's one of the purposes of a show of this nature, which is called Global Leaders, where we're able to chat to some of the most successful people from around the world and help our future entrepreneurs find their calling, find their vocation. So we're live right now, and we're ready for segment number 2 with the rocking Videshni. And segment number 2 is all about life secrets. So we're going to get back over to Videshni, and we're going to ask her some awesome questions about some of the things that helped her become the leader that she is today. So, Videshni, we all face many hurdles in whatever situation we may be in. What is your secret weapon to maintaining a positive mindset?
Rajiv, I believe that the secret is remaining transformative throughout your life's journey. You know, one of the greatest disappointments that I have at this stage in my life is that these days children believe that the moment you set on a career, you have to stick to it and see it out until you actually reach old age dead inside. If, however, you believe that you are on this transformative journey, there is nothing wrong with understanding that it is a journey of constantly becoming the person that you were meant to be. If I had to look at my personal journey, after serving articles, after going and being a legal advisor and then a senior legal advisor, when I had children, I actually became a makeup consultant. And why did I do that? I went back to the one thing that took me through law school, which was makeup. So I dressed Indian brides and I did several shows along the journey. And all along my journey, for the choices that I had made in terms of becoming who I actually wanted to become, I've faced deep criticism. One from people believing that I wasn't sure of where I was headed in my journey. And to all youngsters out there, and especially to my children, I want my life to be a message of the fact that you don't have to be beholden to anything that you might study. You might change, your needs might change, your entire view of life might change. For me, the transformative journey began when I birthed a special needs child. And I realized that there was much more in this world than seeking a perfect existence. My child was born with his imperfections, being a cleft palate baby. He went through 15 operations in the first 5 years of his life. For me, that journey of imperfection is the message that I want to follow through in my life. That there isn't anything set in stone, that you are constantly in the process of becoming, that you are going to face criticism. I've had, and sad to say, Indian males that thought that I was a stupid girl because I went back to doing makeup. I did that purely because I was the only makeup artist around the block that could advise a bride and a groom on their anti-nuptial contract at the time. But more so, I did that because it earned me time around my children, which was more important to me at the time. I eventually caught up with my legal career. So much so I went back, I lectured law, I served as a magistrate, and even up to this day, even though I might be doing humanitarian work, that professionalism and that basis has actually helped me and been the diving board into all that I'm doing now. So don't set your goals in stone. Do different things. Do things that are going to burn a passion in you. And then you will be living the life that you want for yourself.
I love the passion and I love the way you came across right there. To be honest, I could actually feel your energy. And I think that's what it's about, learning from people who have been through the journey of life, as we will call it. And I love how you mentioned, you'll be giving legal advice to the brides before they actually, while you're doing their makeup. So you were like the legal makeup artist, they got a 2-in-1 package.
Yes, the legal makeup.
The legal makeup artist. But no, that is so awesome. So before we go to our next segment, the last question is a very important question. And I believe personally a question of this nature is a question that each one of us need to pay very close attention to, because I always believe it's about the small changes we make in our life that ultimately make us better people. So what can a person do in their daily life routine to ensure that they are growing and becoming better people?
I believe that if we remain true to ourselves, we automatically gain guidance along the way. I believe that every time that you are starting to feel that that you're not keen on waking up to face the challenges of the day, and truthfully, we are operating now in a COVID existence. And our daily existence is always, about death and the people that we are losing alongside us. So we're getting to question a lot about purpose and living purposeful existence. And merely waking up these days is actually a miracle. But the reality is that when you wake up and you're not looking forward to your day, you have to constantly question yourself deeper. Is it because I'm facing a hard day, or is it because I've really become dissatisfied and I'm not gaining any energy towards what I am meant to do? Because I can tell you, Rajiv, one of the best things about being where I am now is that there is always a spring in my step. I'm ready to constantly take on more purely because I'm fired by my journey and my passion to achieve the next best thing. And that is what I believe will guide you. Remain true to your purpose. Wake up every day looking and being honest about how you are feeling. Interrogate those feelings. Speak to yourself. Don't be harsh on yourself. Understand that every day, in every way, we are learning. And if you are feeling any dispassion, then it is time to actually change what you are doing. That change only lies within you.
Lovely stuff. Lovely stuff. You can see Videshni has that positive sort of vibe. And that is one of the reasons she started this incredible concept called the Light Workers Foundation. So, what we're going to do right now is we are officially ready for segment number 3, live right here on the Global Leaders Show. And today we have with us the rocking Videshni. So with segment number 3, we get to know some golden nuggets from the lovely Videshni. So we're going to get back over to Videshni. And Videshni, in this segment number 3, we want you to answer some really simple questions like we've done before. So you've been in service to community for many years. What advice do you have for people who are wanting to do the same?
So, Rajiv, while a large part of our journey was about handing packages over to the less fortunate, I believe that the greatest transformation happened for me when I didn't see myself on a level above anybody that I was serving. It took a long time to get there. And for me, it was when I was running a homework center. And because there was a lag between monies coming into my account in order to buy bread for that center, I actually went to swipe my card because that's what we do. And I realized that I couldn't pay for that bread. And it was from that experience, when my card was rejected, that I realized that all the time that I had been serving, I felt like I was serving wearing a hero's cape. When you serve from that stance, you will never transform because you always see yourself as the hero. The moment you switch, the moment you start understanding that service and selfless service is actually a transformative journey, it's not about the accolades that you win at the end of the day, but it is a deeply transformational exercise where there is no difference between you and the people that you are serving. Rajiv, I haven't even covered half of my journey in terms of the women that I worked with. For me, most of them were poverty stricken, but largely also drug rehabilitated women that I was surrounded by. And to this day, I can tell you that I learned more in the circles of the community women and the children that I was amongst than any other professional person that I sit amongst the table around, purely because I threw off that cape and I knew that I could only become who I wanted to become and who we should become when we go on a journey of transformation, when we operate from no level of ego. For me, this was my greatest mind shift. So if you want to contact me, I'm busy setting up social media platforms. You'll find me on Facebook under Videshni Naidu Singh. And do watch out for the concept of Whole Again, which I'm currently going to be embarking on, and sharing on social media and all the various platforms. So I will leave my contact emails, and addresses and all the social media platforms available to anybody that wants to contact me moving forward. Thank you.
Fantastic, fantastic, fantastic. So to all you guys, you heard it from Videshni live right here on Global Leaders. From myself, Rajiv Moti, I've got one thing left to say. You guys have just been motivated.